Hey everybody, Russ here doing a little editing for an upcoming podcast. This podcast is about how amazing people connect, and you are an amazing person. So today I want to encourage you, get out there, connect with others, and have an awesome and fantastic day. Okay, so let's jump on and listen to the podcast and listen to how today's amazing guest connects.
2004 went on a short-term missions trip like all of the others to the country of Romania, and it was on that trip that God really spoke to me. This is the time, this is the place. And so then I began the process of getting to Romania at that point, and I arrived in 2006.
Do you want to know how amazing people connect? Well, you're in the right place. Welcome to Marketing with Russ, aka #RussSelfie. Today's episode brought to you by Southpaw's Pizza in Albany, Oregon, and H&R Block of Albany, Corvallis, Lebanon, and Kaiser. Well, hello everybody. Russ here again with another podcast, Marketing with Russ, aka #RussSelfie. I am so excited to be with you today and so excited for the guest I have on today, Tamara Henkes. And I pronounced that right, didn't I?
Yes.
Yes. So I've known Tamara for quite a long time, but I don't pronounce her last name very often. So there you go. Anyway, so I'm real excited to talk to her today. But first, I want to let you know that the primary focus of this podcast is to talk about how amazing people connect. Today, Tamara is one of those amazing people, and I'm so excited to have her. And we're going to let her tell a little bit about herself. But first, I want to let you know that if you want to get in touch with me, the easiest way is to just connect on my website at russhedge.com. Keep it simple. And through that, you can connect to all my social media, my email, and every way to get in touch with me. So that is me. And now, without any further ado, we're going to skip on to Tamara. Tamara, how are you doing today?
I am blessed. Thank you so much, Russ.
You bet. And so first off, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you're doing these days?
Okay, well, first and foremost, I am ordained minister with the Assemblies of God, and I am a missionary with the Assemblies of God World Missions. I've been serving in Romania for the past 13 years. I'm currently stateside here in Oregon, and I'm speaking in churches, raising funds for my next missions trip to Montenegro. And previous to all of this, I was a early childhood children's pastor in Portland, a church in Portland. And prior to that, I was a corporate tax accountant. So I have quite the variety of background there.
That is quite a variety. Wow. So ministry obviously is your prime focus, and missions. How did you get involved in missions? When did you have your calling? When did things start?
I had I became a Christian. I began following Jesus when I was about 20 years old. And shortly after that, I went on my first missions trip to the country of Ukraine. And from that point, that was in the mid-90s, I just really felt that in my heart I was called to missions. But long story short, in the 8-year period, I kept praying about this calling and left the business. I was a corporate tax accountant, left that, went to get my master's degree at George Fox Evangelical Seminary, and then was serving on staff at my church, working in children's ministries, and still continued to go on several missions trips. And then in 2004, went on a short-term missions trip like all of the others to the country of Romania. And it was on that trip that God really spoke to me. This is the time, this is the place. And so then I began the process of getting to Romania at that point, and I arrived in 2006.
Wow. So now how many years were you in Romania?
13 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's quite a change now. God is moving you to a new place, right? You're going to Montenegro next. This COVID thing has put a little glitch in that as far as time-wise, but it looks like we're hoping, praying that things are going to open up. You're going to be able to go, in the fall?
My target is November, the week of Thanksgiving. So as you know, right now I'm raising my funds, and at the moment the borders are closed for Americans, but I'm trusting God will get me there at His appointed time.
Awesome. Awesome. So, really we want to focus on connection on this podcast. And you are amazing being able to go to other countries and connect with people where sometimes you don't know the language and you have some obviously cultural barriers. So tell us a little bit about how you go about connecting with the people in whatever land you're in.
Well, I'll say start off with Romania, for example. I think the heart of ministry is, of course, relationships. And, and I think going to another country with the mentality of being a learner, I'm here to learn. And sometimes, I don't want to go there saying, hey, I'm here to save the day. And, and I have this to offer you. No, my heart is I'm going to go in when I go into a new country, I'm going to say, how can I learn and how can I serve? And when you do that, when you go in with just this open heart of being a learner and being a servant, it just really opens up the door for communication and taking the time. That's why I appreciate about the Assemblies of God World Missions is the priority and the emphasis on learning the language. And so taking a year of language school, but, not just going to class, but actually getting out there and being intentional, using those opportunities to build relationships with taxi drivers, cashiers, your next door neighbors, the postal delivery, just really going out there. And for me, that was a challenging. I've always grown up being very shy and being an introvert. And so this really pushed me out of my comfort zone, but I saw amazing things break through by, I'd be in a taxi cab and just start, even in the beginning when it was very limited, but they were just, wow, you speak our language. Well, why are you here? And it just really opened up the door for conversation. So I think, being intentional and taking the time to learn the culture too. I think, taking the time to learn and understand why different cultures, how they respond and why they respond, and kind of really getting into the background of cultures and taking the time to learn that, because that really, it's not just learning the language, but you learning the culture as far as, why do people respond the way they do, and how do they react. And so that's just really, really important. I think just going in with a learning attitude.
Well, and I think that's wonderful what you're saying, because we're all lifelong learners, right? So we need to, that's a big thing, whether you're in business or ministry or whatever you're in, is listening, understanding, and learning. And I think with that, it shows that you care. I love the quote from John Maxwell that says, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
Exactly.
Great quote. And it is so true. And so I think that's always a great way to approach things. So when you go into a country and you're doing that and trying to connect and integrate with people, tell us a little bit about a day in the life of a missionary. What would you be doing?
It really depends on the day and the ministry, but let's say for Romania, because I have that context, I worked with the team, which was really beautiful because our team was so diverse. We had, of course, Americans, we had Romanians, we had El Salvadorians, and most recently, a young couple from Kenya has joined our team. And so we work, we have multi-languages, multi-cultures, and so we would go to the ministry center, and of course, we would plan, and a lot of it is we're communicating with each other and having a plan for outreaches in the villages. We work, the heart of our ministry, of course, was working with children and adolescents. And so we would partner and collaborate with the existing churches. And so during the week, we would plan and, prepare. And then on the weekends, we would travel out to the villages. And everything we did was in collaboration and in partnership with the churches. We would come alongside, how can we serve you in the area of children's ministries? It wasn't that we would ever go out and do our own thing. We always worked with the local church, because then we would leave and they were there to continue to minister to the children and the people in their communities. So a lot of it is, a lot of it was traveling. We would travel the country, but of course, a lot of it would be just being in our ministry center, planning and preparing for our various outreaches.
And that is so awesome. The ability to connect with so many different people, the ability to have the opportunities with so many different people. And in your case, spreading the gospel, whether it's in business, connecting with people for whatever we're doing in life. I think as we go along and learn and listen, that is something I work on all the time, and we all should be doing that, and a little bit, nowadays of, like you're talking about, caring about people and really investing in what they have going on in their culture and all that, that goes a long ways. And I think we need more of that today. So anyway, that is so awesome. So tell us really quickly the best way that people can find out more about you and get in touch with you and learn more about your mission adventures.
Well, my website, Tamara Henkes, Tamara, Tamara, and then Henkes, Henkes.com, my website. I also, one of the things, you've mentioned COVID, and currently I'm stateside. And so, of course, I was limited to traveling and speaking in churches. So one of the things under COVID I implemented was a chat with the missionary. And to allow this next generation, of course, my heart is reaching children around the world, but, I don't want to, miss out on opportunities to minister to children here in America. And so I've done several Zoom calls with children, with their parents, of course, and just allow them to ask questions about what it's like to live overseas. I've had some parents do homeschooling, like this was part of their geography or history classes. And so it was fun to just be able to give a little background of Romania and Eastern Europe and Montenegro, and have a map and talk about the culture and have pictures of food. And, so to kind of try to provide that. So that's an option also. So if anybody has, children and they're interested in learning new cultures and what it's like to be a missionary. But yeah, and so just mostly my website, my social media, Facebook, Instagram, they can search for Tamara Henkes.
That is so great. One of the positive things that's come out of COVID-19 is the interaction, whether it's Zoom or whatever. What we're doing right now is incredible because it gives you opportunity. Once you get on the mission field, you and I can still talk. Yeah. It doesn't matter where you are, and it's fabulous. And then people can learn more about you no matter where they are. So I really appreciate you've taken advantage of that. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Well, I want you to know that I really appreciate you as a person, and I am thankful to have you as a friend. And so today, I appreciate you coming on, telling us a little bit. Hopefully you left them wanting more, and they'll tie into you and what your mission adventures and support you on the mission field. And so everybody, as Tamara said, it was tamarahenkes.com, right? Was the website, and then all the social media. Also, you remember, if you want to get in touch with me or you want more information or you forget how to get in touch with Tamara, it's russhedge.com. And I'm just so thankful you're all here today. We're just thankful that you cared enough to listen to amazing people that connect, and we appreciate you so much. Hope you have an awesome day and have an awesome life, and we'll talk to you soon. See you later.